Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Friday evening to you all. Hope you guys are doing awesome out there tonight and having yourselves a fantastic start to your weekend. Here to bring you some very quick but very detailed information on this incoming winter storm for the interior sections of the Northeast. Certain areas could see over a foot, foot and a half. Maybe someone could see 2 feet of snow from this. So this is going to be some very heavy snow. And then there's going to be an area we need to watch out for some ice. So what we're going to do here on this video is get you guys some really good details on how much snow you could expect, but also discuss the timeline of this snow. We'll even talk a little bit on like New Brunswick up in Canada too, because I do think they're going to get a substantial winter storm from this also. So let's get rocking and rolling. So we're going to start this off this is the HRRR model, latest long range. So we're going to start this off around 10 p.m. tonight, which is here in the next hour or so. We keep this going and we'll take it all the way to about midnight tonight. Okay, this is tonight, not Saturday night. This is tonight. So we got moderate to heavy snow overspreading the Finger Lakes region, still snowing back in Buffalo, Tug Hill Plateau, the Adirondacks, a little bit of winter weather overspreading even as far south as southern New England. Southern sections of Vermont, southern New Hampshire seeing a little snow. But this thing really gets cranking as we start to get into the wee hours of the morning tomorrow morning. You're starting to see some shades of purple and pink. That's a sleet to freezing rain mixture. Everything down here in the green is just washout conditions. Just like a wind-driven rain in some cases in areas of the Delmarva all the way up to New York City. A lot of rain. But let's focus on the snow. As we continue to move forward, we'll take it all the way out to about 7 to 8 a.m. tomorrow. Look at this area of pink and purple. That's, potentially a wintry mix of freezing rain, sleets, but everything up here in Vermont, New Hampshire, getting into Maine, the Adirondacks, and just the interior sections of New England is getting slammed with heavy, wet snow. This is not going to be powdery. I mean, guys, we're in late March. It's not like this is one of those winter storms in January where it's snowing in like the teens. I mean, this is snow like in the low 30s, upper 20s. And we keep this going here, and we start to make our way into about lunchtime tomorrow. Wind-driven rain down here in southern New England, all rain for the Catskills. Still hanging on to snow up here for the Adirondacks, brain fart in the mountain ranges up here. Vermont, New Hampshire, most of those two states still snowing, but the southern sections of these states are starting to mix with a little bit of rain. Maine getting hit very hard, and we keep this going, guys. We're getting all the way to tomorrow afternoon. A little bit of rain switching to snow, even as far south as maybe the Poconos, maybe. Definitely the Catskills could get a switch to snow tomorrow afternoon. And then we keep this rolling, and maybe even a line of storms could make its way through Long Island, southern New England. But on the cold side of this is really going to be a solid back-end thumping of snow behind us tomorrow evening, tomorrow afternoon. And then you see this area of ice. This is definitely a concern up here in Maine. But I mean, by the time we start to look at this line. You almost got like a line of storms into cold air. Could get wild in the down east areas of Maine tomorrow night for sure. But by the time we're starting to get into Sunday morning, this thing is on out of here. So we could lead to a very nice Sunday. But talking about snowfall totals, latest information we got, and this is a broad look. We're really going to zoom into individual areas, so hold tight for me. We got you covered. But, once you start to get into these shades of pink and almost like bright pink, hot pink color, I mean, that's 8 to as much as 16 inches of snow. Someone in Maine is probably going to get 2 feet of snow from this. The ice is a concern too, guys. I mean, there's a very thin corridor where somebody could get over a 1/4 inch of ice. You see these pockets of like darker pink. That's 1/10 to a 1/4 inch of ice. Some areas could get a 1/2 inch of ice, maybe in the down east areas of Maine. So let's go on and zoom into some of these areas. Some of these areas it's already snowing that I'm showing you right now. Buffalo, good 3 to 4 inches of snow before this is all said and done. Rochester, over 5 inches of snow is forecast. You get into the Tug Hill Plateau, anywhere from 6 to 12 inches of snow. Watertown, 7 to 8 inches. Weedsport, 5.3. So, they're really going for exact totals in this case. National Weather Service out of Binghamton. Intra-less in Binghamton. Cortland, 3 to 4. Syracuse, 4 to 6. Boonville, 8 to 12. Cooperstown, 3 to 4 inches of snow. So, Bath, 1 to 2 inches of snow. Some of these areas could get a little bit of ice too. Not expecting much in this area. We start to get into the Albany region. Albany, the forecast snowfall totals have went up a little bit. Now 3 to 4 inches of snow, but you go on up the road, right? Head on up the interstate, a little bit further north. I mean, you get into like Glens, that's 12 to 18 inches of snow forecast. Whitehall, New York, 12 to 18. North Creek, 12 to 18. Johnstown 6 to 8, Manchester and southern Vermont 8 to 12 inches of snow. So yeah, I mean, going for some pretty beefy amounts in this area. And we, take a look at some of the ice totals in this too. You mix some of that snow with a tenth to a quarter inch of ice you see in these areas, and that's probably pretty hard to see on your screen. But this is getting into a very tricky situation, a substantial winter storm on the way. Now, this is going to show Vermont and then the northern sections of New York State. Malone up here, 7 inches. Plattsburgh, 11 to 12 inches. Stowe, over a foot of snow. Chelsea, over a foot of snow. Middlesbury, going for 15 inches. Rutland, 11 to 12 inches. St. Jonesbury, 16 inches of snow. So the entire state of Vermont is pretty much going to get a substantial winter storm. Now, you got to start to worry about a little bit. Let me see if I can find it here. A little bit of ice in southern sections of Vermont. Some areas could get a few 1/100ths of an inch to over a tenth of an inch of ice. Head on over to the National Weather Service out of Boston. You really got to get tucked into the western and northwestern sections of Massachusetts to get any appreciable snowfall from this. But Pittsfield, a good 2 to 3 inches of snow is possible. Greenfield, 2 to 3. But you get into the far corner over here, someone could sneak in maybe as much as 4 to 8 inches of snow. Okay? Meant to put that graphic away, but just the National Weather Service there. But this is the National Weather Service out of New Hampshire. Okay? Manchester, 3 to 4. Concord, 6 to 8 inches of snow. Trying to say it like I'm from New Hampshire up here. Rochester, 4 to 6 inches of snow. You got the North Conway, 12 to 18. Berlin, 12 to 18. Colebrook, 12 to 18 inches of snow. Woodstock, 12 to 18 inches. And it drops off pretty dramatically once you get down here. But you got to deal with some icing down here too. And we'll go back to, let's go to the New Hampshire ice totals. I mean, there's some pockets in here going for a quarter to a half inch of ice in some of these favored kind of tucked in valley regions. So definitely watch out here. I mean, you mix in a few inches of snow with a quarter inch of ice, that's nasty conditions. But this is going to be the epicenter of the worst of this storm for sure. For Maine, Holton, 18 to 24 inches of snow. Caribou could be one of your biggest winter storms that you've seen so far this winter and spring. 12 to 18 inches of snow. Frenchville, that's 18 to 24 inches of snow. Frenchville, 12 to 18 inches. Bangor now going for 12 to 18 inches of snow there. Snowfall totals have actually increased in these areas. A little bit further south. I mean, Augusta, I think that's, 4 to 6 inches? I think. Now, maybe that's 8 to 12. It's very hard to see. They're all jumbled up here. But this is the thing that I worry about for Maine, these ice totals. And it's very congealed right in here. It's very confusing. Definitely a very confusing graphic, but it's very hard to even explain this. I think they have some issues with the coloring, but there's going to be a very kind of scrawny corridor here just off the coastline of Maine that's going to have some high impact ice totals that we need to worry about here and be aware of. So I want to show some love to my folks here in New Brunswick. As we're getting into tomorrow about midday, heavy snow begins to overspread. St. John, New Brunswick, I don't think this is going to be a substantial winter storm for you guys, but you're certainly going to start off tomorrow afternoon with a solid thumping of snow. Once you start to move into Fredericton area of New Brunswick, definitely you're going to get hit pretty good with this, especially just north. But, you could start off as a little snow in western Nova Scotia, but I do think you'll switch. Then look at this ice showing up, kind of between St. John and Fredericton. Nasty corridor of ice, the same thing you're dealing with in Maine. But, man, the northern sections, the northern half of New Brunswick, absolutely crushed here. All rain in Nova Scotia. And this is Sunday morning. This thing's heading on off and really impacting all of eastern Canada at this point. So I know y'all go off centimeters here. So I think 30 centimeters is what, don't let me get it wrong. I think it's a foot of snow, equivalent to 12 inches. So, widespread foot and a half snowfall totals across the northern half of New Brunswick, going for about 5 to 6 centimeters of snow here. And, like St. John, a little bit more, closer to about a half a foot, 14, 15 centimeters of snow. I'm not sure what your locals are calling for in like Fredericton, but you also got to worry about the freezing rain totals in this area too. I know I think y'all go by millimeters, and there's going to be a corridor right in here of nasty icing, anywhere from 10 to as much as 30 millimeters of ice that kind of cuts through this area right here. And to be honest, it looks like it goes almost right through or just north of Fredericton. So big time winter storm on the way for the northeast and areas of eastern Canada. Be prepared. This is definitely one of those late season crushers for sure. God bless all y'all, and I'll talk to you again soon.